Good morning and welcome to the May 5th, 2015 special meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Tracy Fehlbeck. I serve as chairman of the board as well as commissioner for the Dallas Township. I'd like to welcome our viewers and thank Time Warner Cable and AT&T for making this possible for our citizens. For a television audience, I'd like to present to you your Gaston County Commissioners, beginning on my right.
Alan Fraley, Cherryville Township.
Joe Carpenter, Crowder's Mountain Township.
Good morning, Tom Kigger, Gastonia Township.
Thank you, gentlemen. Commissioner Williams is not available to come today due to a work obligation. Commissioner Brown is not able to come today due to a work obligation. Commissioner Price is out of town, and he is going to try to call in. The reason this meeting is set up as early as we could is because it was the only time, it was the fastest way we could get a quorum, or the soonest we could get a quorum to address this issue. So no one's dodging anybody. We just couldn't get everybody here at the same time. And this was the best time we could get 4 people here. So I wanted to explain that. At this time, the invocation will be led by Commissioner Carpenter, and then the Pledge of Allegiance will be delivered by Commissioner Fraley. Thank you.
Stand, please. And pray with me. Our Father God, we come to you recognizing that you are the source of all good, and all good comes from you. And we're made in your image and likeness, and help us to reflect that goodness in our lives. We pray for us as we meet today to discuss work of this county commission, and we pray your guidance. For it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. If I hear no objections, I would like to move the vote up before citizens' comment due to Commissioner Fraley may have to leave a little early due to work, and I would like to at least have a quorum here to vote on that. We will still stay here the entire time and hear every single concern from the citizens. I'm going to make a statement. I know there's many in the media here today that have asked for an interview and things of that nature. This will be the only statement that I will make on this matter. I do not see interview after interview being productive for Gaston County. In March, this board, through the county manager, spoke about the insurance policy. So for over 2 months, this issue has been in the public view. It was spoke about at this meeting. You can go online and see the minutes and see the video. The reason the vote was moved up is I actually had a county employee call me, and they had some questions, and most of what they had been told was false. And I said, you know what? I know there's a lot of confusion, so I will go ahead and put the matter on the agenda to hopefully clear that confusion. Well, that didn't happen. It actually created more confusion. What I want you to know is that over the past couple days, you've been told that we have voted ourselves insurance for life, free, and that should be subsidized by the taxpayer. That is not true. Most people have not even read the resolution. And today, I want to take a little bit of time for us to just read the resolution. And I want to put it on the screen. So at this time, if you could put the resolution on the screen. I want to read this resolution. The title is a resolution to allow Gaston County Commissioners to purchase at their own cost health insurance coverage after they leave office. This is the very resolution that we voted on. I never saw it anywhere in the media, but I think it's very important that you see this. Whereas Gaston County maintains a self-insurance pool of substantial size, which is unlikely to be adversely affected by adding a relatively small number of participants, now therefore be it resolved that the Gaston County Commissioners, upon leaving office after 4 or more years of service, shall be eligible to purchase health insurance coverage for themselves and their dependents at the prevailing premium rates charged to employees of Gaston County, subject to annual adjustment, effective April the 28th, 2015. Mr. Moore, could you clarify the intentions of the board on that issue?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if that I can clarify or adjust the intent of the resolution because I didn't have any conversations with the board.
You need to turn your mic up.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, let me start over. I don't know that I can clarify the intent of the board. I think board members must speak for themselves concerning their intent with respect to the resolution. I know that there is some competing language in the resolution related to the title of the resolution, where it refers to commissioners purchasing at their own cost health insurance coverage. The effective clause in the resolution is the now therefore clause, where it says commissioners could purchase at prevailing rates. So the staff would have been obligated to follow that guidance. But I would have to presume that if it was the intent of the commissioners, as apparently the commissioners say, that it was their intent to pay the full premium that is paid for each employee, both by the county and by the employee, that the commissioners would have acted to correct this resolution at some point before it became actually implemented. No commissioner would have been on the coverage on the basis of this resolution until at least the end of next year or maybe beyond that period. So there would have been ample time to make the correction based on the board's intent.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We never contacted the HR department to discuss this issue. I never spoke to any of those folks. I never sent them an email because the issue was never, I didn't think we really needed to talk to them because we were going to pay it at our own cost. I'd met with the county manager, Earl Mathers. I met in his office. We framed this language, and then it came out. What kind of surprised me is, again, that a lot of the reports on it, a lot of folks never really read the resolution or never even read the title. I take full responsibility for this action. I take full responsibility for not making it clear. I was asked several times, well, why didn't you speak to the media at a sooner date? The reason I didn't speak to the media at a sooner date is the majority of what I say does not get printed the way I say it. So what I wanted to do is come to a public meeting so it can be recorded on TV and say this in front of you so it will be a part of the public record. It was never my intention. It was never the intention of this board to ask this community to subsidize our health insurance. As a county commissioner, I think for the past 15, maybe 20 years, you are eligible for insurance. What we were asking was that once we leave office, if we could purchase that at our full cost. With that said, I've learned a lot during this time. The community has definitely spoken out. They said this is an issue that they want rescinded. Today, we will fully rescind this resolution as if it never existed. I want to apologize to this community for putting Gaston County through this situation. And as chairman of the board, I take full responsibility for this decision. I thank you for coming out. At this time, what I'm going to do is entertain a motion to fully rescind this resolution. We'll get a second. We'll have some discussion, and then we'll vote. And then at that time, any citizen here that would like to come up and speak and express your comments or your thoughts, you are more than welcome. There is no time limit. You do have 5 minutes because we have so many folks, but as long as people line up and want to talk, we will listen.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. The motion is to rescind the resolution, a resolution to allow Gaston County Commissioners to purchase at their own cost health insurance coverage after they leave office. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? And Commissioner Price is on the phone, and he voted aye. And I will let you know that Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Williams both agreed to rescind this matter. Thank you. At this time, we'll have citizens comment. I will call you up one at a time. If you will, please state your name and address for the record. A portion of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens an opportunity to offer comments and suggestions. This comment period is not intended to require the Commission and our staff to answer any impromptu questions or provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the County Manager's office. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes. As I call your name, please step to the podium. And some of these I'm going to have a hard time reading. So if I mess your name up, please forgive me. And just make sure when you get to the mic, you say it at that time. Miss Virginia Feemster?
Yes. My name is Virginia Feemster, and I live at 316 Greenwood Avenue in Belmont. And I have many concerns, and I agree with you. A lot of people aren't here today who would like to be here today. But 9:30 on a weekday morning is a very difficult time for people who work to attend a meeting the way they would like to do, as I'm sure the other commissioners would like to be here. I'm doing a quick overview of things that have been said and written up to this point. One thing about being overworked and underpaid. Try being a teacher. If you want to know what being overworked and underpaid is, try being a nurse, try being a volunteer who works with a number of organizations, no perks, no money, except the satisfaction of knowing you're doing what you can for other people. And I see the county commissioner's job as that. When you run for commission, you should have the interest of every citizen in your county. You commissioners have not had that. I have spoken here before, and it's the same thing every time. You vote as a block. You agree with each other. I've never been on a board in my life where there wasn't somebody who didn't agree with everybody else. It's not even natural for everybody to agree. People should have their own opinions, their own ideas. But some things I want to mention. This is not political. I have heard some of you blaming a certain political party. Oh, no. It is across the board in Gaston County. People being dissatisfied with what you're doing, what you're saying. And for one time, you have gone too far. I feel like you've gone too far lots of times, but this time you've really gone too far. You have way overstepped your bounds. And you do not represent Gaston County as a whole. You do not bring the county together, as was stated by one of your commissioners. You divide Gaston County. You pull people apart. you do not bring together. And the worst part of it, you do it with a religious flair. Now, I'm a Christian. Nobody would ever question my Christianity. It is not right to bring your own religion to a political podium, to a political job. You ran not as a religious person. I know one time before I was here and I said this very same thing. And we were told later, I cannot take the Christian part of myself out of who I am. It has to be with me and help me make decisions. Fair. I'm the same way. My Christian part is part of who I am. Yes, it helps me make decisions. Yes, it helps me in my daily life. But as a teacher, could I take it to the classroom? No. As a volunteer, can I take it to the organizations with which I'm involved? No. You are not on a pulpit. You are on a podium. And you need to start treating it like that and stop saying that God and the Bible and your religion speaks for everything you do or say. There are plenty of people in this county who don't share your religion, who don't share your faith. And it's not right. There's so many people here you are not representing. You have hurt people. You have pulled people apart, and you should be ashamed, because I'm ashamed of you. I am a native of Gaston County, 5 generations, and I have never, ever seen this county in the situation it is now because of a number of men who can't see any further than themselves. And I don't know what to say with you. I don't know what to do with you. You're even saying on this adoption issue, liken it to abortion. It has nothing to do with abortion. Nobody's thinking abortion or bringing up abortion. Nobody's anti-adoption. Nobody's anti-insurance. But you are part-time employees. You are not full-time, and you do not deserve the benefits that full-time employees get.
Hold on. Listen. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to speak. And you can say whatever you want to say, but at least be respectful to the person speaking. Thank you. You want to finish?
Actually, I feel very respected.
Thank you, Ms. Feimster. Next up is Ms. Barbara Davis.
Hey.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Davis. I reside at 3638 Jordan View Lane here in Gastonia. And I am a Republican. And I have been embarrassed and ashamed that I voted for those of you that I did. You chose to become a commissioner, to enter the race. You knew the benefits. You are not entitled to any benefits that are not available to the average citizen. If this job is too much for you financially, there are lots of ladies out here that will take your place when you resign. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Ms. Deborah Garrett. Again, please state your name and address. Thank you.
My name is Deb Garrett. I reside at 5056 Greystone Estates, Belmont, North Carolina. Like my friend Barbara, I voted for most of you, and with that, I'm ashamed of the job that you've done. I'm appalled by the idea that you would dare in this climate and economy with your constituents suffering economic hardships, that you would even think of voting yourself the ability for somebody else to pay for your adoption. That is wrong. We don't owe you anything. You chose the job and everything that does or does not go with it. I don't owe you. These people don't owe you. You owe us to do the job that you said that you were going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garrett. Ms. Ann Stanley.
My name is Ann Stanley. I live at 309 Ranlow Avenue in Gastonia. Today I stand before you as a former Gaston County employee. I have nothing but time on my hands now since I lost my job of over 11 years as a full-time and often overtime employee. I didn't willingly lose my job along with its health benefits and hope for reinstating the benefits of the other employees such as longevity and pay raises. However, had I been given an option to continue my health insurance after serving Gaston County for over 11 years of my life, I would have taken it. I was stripped of that benefit with a swiftness at a most volatile time in my own health. I have multiple sclerosis, and several issues pertaining to stress and anxiety exacerbated my situation, which led to my loss of my employment. I reached out to each and every one of you during the time that I was struggling over at social services. Every one of you I emailed. I begged for your acknowledgement and recognition, only to get default replies and dismissive responses. Your own pet projects and interests are followed through with, but I'm convinced you never thought twice about mine. I scratched my way out of being a pregnant teenage high school dropout to being one of the most policy-educated workers for social services. Now I'm reduced to a medically fragile, jobless position as a mother of 7 myself, with no medical insurance and no money to be able to afford to purchase insurance right now. I can understand the desire to have some of those benefits that you've afforded yourselves as elected part-time county employees for fear of winding up like me. But I cannot understand why you would consider affording it to yourselves only and not all of the current part-time employees as well, or the retirees, or the unwillingly ousted 10-plus year employees also. Why couldn't it have come with a benefit to the community in some way? How could you not even consider some of the others who struggle to even put food on their tables because of part-time pay and insurance premiums that they can't afford? Even those deemed disabled by the state has to wait 2 years to be eligible for Medicare. In the meantime, they have to pay for their own insurance. Many of those receive much less in disability income than you earn as part-time employees. How could you not consider a single constituent in your decisions to assist yourselves? It was the right decision to rescind your self-serving resolution. However, the initial vote on the matter spoke volumes to the entire county, and the damage has been done. Each and every political party has voiced a strong opinion of this issue. Had they not noticed and raised their voices on this, would we even be here today? Use your Christian morals and ask yourself, when did Jesus ever do anything that was self-serving? He sacrificed and suffered for the people. He did not benefit from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanley. Belinda Meyer. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. You sure did. Good morning. I'm Belinda Meyer. I reside at 1 Spruce Pine Drive, Belmont. I'm here today as my first experience ever doing this, and it's because I have been very distressed about what's going on in Gaston County. Over the last several months, I've been following the progress, or lack thereof in my case, of the Gaston County Commissioners, and I've decided it's time that I have to speak. We as a county are trying to build and grow and bring new life and ideas so that we can become a vital, prosperous county again. Then this body, months ago, made it clear that some people are not welcome here by passing a resolution opposing same-sex marriage. The resolution did not do anything other than to say, hi, we're Gaston County and we're all about discrimination. There have been reports about people on the board, and granted, I'm only going by the newspaper and online and stuff, so I don't know the true facts, but seeking first in line, shall we say, in some cases. And it needs to stop. You guys are in the public eye. You chose to be there. So you need to think about how you behave in public. It's like you tell your own children, you know, not to call you guys children, sorry. Time and again, I read and hear reports about why you took a particular action, and it all comes down to God and the Bible. I do not question your beliefs, but I do question your viewing only your beliefs in making a decision within your public office. God and the Bible did not vote you into office. We, the public, voted you into office. And you need to speak for us. That being said, please realize that you have insulted, demeaned, and belittled a great number of Christians by assuming that your interpretation of the Bible is the only interpretation of the Bible. You need to listen to all of your constituents, not just those that have the exact same beliefs. You do hold a public office. Mr. Philbeck, sir, I do not question the fact that God wants you to adopt. I believe adoption is a beautiful thing, but I don't recollect God telling me I need to help pay for it. I would rather my tax monies be spent for people who already live in Gaston County and are struggling to survive on a daily basis. A pencil for a child at school, or some sort of meal for an older citizen. And a lot of things have been said already about being overworked and underpaid, and I am a former teacher, and I am on disability now because I have Lyme disease, and it has kicked my butt. So I do get concerned about insurance things. In so much as there was all this debacle about it, would it not have been easier if you're showing the resolution on the screen now, when it all came out, just gone to the papers and said, here's the resolution. This is what it really says. And I don't know if you did that. And just be straightforward and honest about things. And I was going to say that there's no way that your backsliding vote or amending it would be to the, to the public's benefit, that just to completely rescind it would be the benefit, and you did that. So I thank you. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Ms. Priscilla Barnett.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners, for rescinding that offer. I am a retired Gaston County police officer. I worked for Gaston County for over 28 years. I earned my insurance benefits. I earned those things. New hires, now for Gaston County, they don't get that benefit. As long as they work for the county, they have insurance. But once they leave, all they have is their retirement. They not get longevity anymore. They don't get anything because it was taken away from them. I'm not like the rest of your constituents. I didn't vote for any of you. And I'm not surprised at what you're doing. It's not a surprise to me that you are reaping the benefits off of everybody else's back. I'm not surprised. And Mr. Philbeck, you are all over the place. It's great to adopt children. It really is. But did you have to go all the way out of the country to get them? You can adopt whoever you want to. That's up to you and your family. But we have children right here in Gaston County. You don't even have to leave Gaston County to adopt children. And no, I do not want to pay for your adoption. I don't want that. I just don't want that for me and my friends and my fellow people that work for Gaston County. You need to be ashamed of yourselves for what you've done to this county. And it's time for a change, and a change is about to come. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Ms. Barnett. Mr. Walter Kimball.
morning, Mr. Commissioner, distinguished members of the board. My name is Walter A. Kimball, 2769 Independence Way, Gastonia. I'm also an elected councilman for Ward Number 1, the City of Gastonia. I do not take city health benefits, by the way. I want to make it clear at this juncture that I'm speaking, and this statement is for me as an individual and does not reflect the mayor and the elected officials of the City of Gastonia. Over the past week, we've seen and read much of the media coverage of this health insurance eligibility, seen it in print, social media, and it seems as though it's been a discussion point throughout our city and our county. Whether the vote was a mistake of the head or the heart may continue to still be debated the days and the weeks ahead. Yet in another context, I think that we can use this situation as a teachable moment. The larger question for all of us here, folks that didn't make it, that are watching TV at home, for the commissioners, where do we go from here? Big question. I think it's time that we've placed this issue in the proverbial rearview mirror and we move forward with a renewed zeal to serve all the citizens of the county while displaying a clear, concise methodology of stewardship in spending and allocating citizen tax dollars. Let's all of us work and pledge to reunite Gaston County. I personally stand at the ready to help us to move towards that goal, and I stand with you gentlemen to also to move towards that goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Mike Sigmund, I think I pronounced that right.
Mr. Chairman and board members, I'm Mike Sigmund. I live at 1701 Windy Rush Lane in Gastonia, North Carolina. I was born and raised in Gastonia. Operated a business here for 27 years. I have been retired for 9 years. It's 365 days of the year, approximately. I eat out breakfast every morning somewhere. I go to numerous places, never stay at the same place the next day. It's always somewhere different. On a number of occasions, I have seen our county commissioners meeting in groups of 2 or 3, not as a social event, because if someone is just socially having fun, having breakfast together, they're sitting back in their chairs and enjoying themselves. But on a number of occasions, I've seen you, Mr. Philback, and several other members speaking up in hushed tones to plan the agenda so we become before the public and the vote is already decided. You've already decided with no discussion from the public what's going to take place. I, as a citizen of Gaston County my entire life, I don't view you as an employee of Gaston County. You were elected by a vote of the people, regardless of whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. You were elected as an individual for your moral character and your honesty to represent the people of Gaston County. You knew what the job required when you ran for the office. You knew what the benefits were. You knew what the salary was. You knew what the expense account was. And if that is not into your liking, then, as said before, I think you should resign. If it requires too much of your time, if the other 3 members that are not here today are because they are at another job, then this isn't their job. I ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sigmund. Ms. Robin Cox.
I'm Robin Cox. I reside at 205 North Jacob Street in Cherryville. I'm here this morning to address several of the resolutions that I feel are wrong for the taxpayers and to voice my confusion with exactly where the Board of Commissioners fit in with other county personnel. I would like to talk about the adoption resolution that was sponsored by Mr. Williams, who says he was attracted to the idea after he had been exposed to it at a company where he was previously employed. First of all, Gaston County isn't a private company, and any benefits that are offered will ultimately be paid by the taxpayers. So that's altogether a different scenario. Private companies can and should do with their profits whatever they feel led to do. I can appreciate and get a soft heart for adoption as much as anyone. We adopted from Romania 16 years ago. I just feel that it doesn't really make sense to ask taxpayers to assist someone with a private adoption. I'm scratching my brain to try and figure out where that would fall in the role of Gaston County governing. I would imagine that there would be many resources in this county and even beyond that would have a heart for assisting financially with an adoption. Those who adopt volunteer to do that. It's an individual, private decision. The people of this county haven't volunteered for it. Some of them can hardly buy groceries. The county apparently has approved up to $8,000 per child, and as I understand it, no limit has been set on the number of adoptions. I know that Mr. Philbeck is getting ready to adopt 3 children. I'm not foolish enough to think that he would be going into this endeavor to gain money. Even if he receives the full amount, $24,000 for the 3 children that he plans to adopt, that's pennies to what he will ultimately spend on these children. But $24,000 to this county is more than pennies. I know that Mr. Philbeck has said that he feels totally clear in his conscience about the decision he has made to go through with his use of the adoption benefit. I think the citizens of Gaston County would be better served, Mr. Philbeck, if you chose to take this sacrifice upon yourself and leave them out of it. They didn't choose it. The health care coverage resolution passed last week. If the resolution was for you to pay for it fully yourselves, why did you even bring the resolution forward? That would be the same as buying your own insurance. So go out and buy your insurance when you leave. The other thing is that the county is self-insured. So even if you were to get insurance through them and they didn't subsidize your payments at all, it would still be a huge deception to say that it wouldn't cost the county. Every claim ever filed would go through the county. Imagine the cost of that to the county over the next 30 years or so. Mr. Philbeck mentioned that the county manager brought the idea to the meeting for discussion. But if I understand things right, the county manager basically works at the discretion of the board and takes his orders from the board. The full responsibility of the decision lies with the board. You discussed it and you signed it. I'm confused about the Board of Commissioners' role within the county personnel system. I may be wrong, but I never really thought of the Board of Commissioners as employees. I mean, are y'all actual employees within the personnel system? Are you part of the pay plan where you get automatic raises, where they do bonuses, things like that? And if you are you full-time employees? Are you part-time employees? Because there's really no consistency in some of your decisions. For the adoption resolution, you aligned yourself with the full-time employees because part-time employees don't even receive that benefit. For the health insurance resolution, you set yourself up above both because no county employee receives those benefits. Mr. Keeger talked last week about this job, as he calls it. I fully understand it requires personal sacrifice of time and commitment to hold a public office. He talked about the fact that your pay by the hour isn't nearly the hourly wage of the average employee of Gaston County. All of you have a regular job and have one when you ran for this position, and you chose to run for this office and have continued to run repeatedly. And this requires a lot of time, but it isn't an advertised paying job with benefits. And if it's becoming that, then surely there are more people who would like to apply, and the aspirations for this job will become different. I understand that you should be reimbursed for any expenditures that you incur in your time and efforts on this board, but above and beyond that, you're paid with Your pay seems to be reasonable. You were aware of it when you ran for the office. Maybe there are other counties who can do better, but the truth is we aren't the most affluent county in the state. For many years now, the fund balance has been used to balance the budget. Will the fund balance be used again to cover some of these benefits? As a registered Republican myself, I say it's time to lighten up, look ahead, and look out for the citizens.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Mary.
Nipple clip.
That's it. Sorry about that. Some of this is
That's
going through.
okay. My name is Mary Ann Nichols Smith, 3016 Daisy Court. I'm a former Gaston County employee, Gaston County Police Department, and Branch Banking and Trust. Look around the room. What do you see? You see Democrats, Libertarians, Republicans, Tea Party. So that should tell you something. This is not a political group. It's a do the fair and right thing group. Because that's what we came here to suggest to you, that's all we're asking is for everybody to try to do the right thing. If you focus on the ideas to better Gaston County people, take self-service and greed out of the equation. Take it off the table entirely. Now you say that you have a stressful job. Of course you have a stressful job. Most jobs are stressful. But if you want to talk about stress, you take a part-time county employee that needs to go to the doctor or the hospital, and she can't go because she knows the medical cost is outrageous and she doesn't have insurance. Now that's stressful. Now you made a conscious decision to become commissioners. You chose this. You chose to serve the people, not serve yourself. Focus on what is best for Gaston County. Focus on something to benefit all the people, not using the taxpayers' money for self-help insurance or the adoption plan set up for full-time employees. Adoption is great. My nephew's adopted. 5 of our alumni associations have adopted children. They're about 30 now, but they were adopted. Now, someone mentioned health care as a perk, as an appreciation. Appreciation is a plaque that says, thank you for your service. But when you go into the taxpayer's pocket every month, that's not appreciation. That's robbing Peter to pay Paul. And Peter can't afford it. So I'm just wondering, do you care? Do you honestly care? Or sometimes I feel like you just don't give a darn. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Robert Kellogg.
My name is Robert Kellogg, and I reside at 1652 Lowell Bethesda Road here in Gastonia. I come before this commission not as an openly gay baby killer, as Commissioner Philbeck so passionately described me as on his Facebook page, but as a concerned citizen of Gaston County. I am concerned on many levels that our county government is displaying signs of corruption, elitism, egocentrism, and a lack of accountability. When this commission sat here a week ago and unanimously voted in favor of health care for life for themselves, the wheels effectively came off this runaway train. There was not one man here who had the insight or the guts to stand up for what is right and vote no. Commissioner Keeger almost doesn't count. The public defense of this vote, where you stated you and your colleagues work harder than most county employees, did little to help this resolution pass the smell test. It was not only grossly inaccurate, but highly offensive to the men and women in our county workforce. The immediate reaction was public outcry and resulted in the coming together of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and Tea Party members alike, agreeing that this was a grievous overstep of authority and a careless act that shaped taxpayers and county employees alike, slapping them in the face. The argument that ensued that this would not cost taxpayers any money was quickly debunked and resulted in this commission walking back the resolution. The continued public outcry eventually led to an announcement and this morning to the rescission of this proposal. I hope that that is still the case. Our county employees should not have to endure such an unfair policy that gives perks to part-time work. That would be the very example of elitism and egocentrism. We hope you will keep your word and rescind this entire resolution, which you have, so thank you. As if that were not enough, it came to light that the commissioner voted for an adoption resolution not in public, but out of the view of taxpayers. This is not how democracy should work. One can debate the resolution on its cost to taxpayers, but the real issue, once again, is full-time perk for part-time work. There remains a double standard. Part-time elected public servants should not be allowed to dip their hands in the taxpayer's cookie jar, specifically if county employees are not afforded the same opportunity. Nobody is saying that Mr. Philbeck should not adopt. On the contrary, it is one of the most noble acts one can undertake. However, taxpayers must realize the funds utilized by Mr. Philbeck and possibly others to come after him could be better served for equipment and for services which benefit all Gaston County families, such as a teacher's assistant or a new patrol car for our local offices. In conclusion, I would like to state that the self-promoting words and actions of this board over the past week have tarnished our county government and cast a shadow of doubt over this chamber. I hope we can move forward, but there needs to be less finger-pointing and more personal accountability to do so. Friendships are great. Working together in a collaborative manner as commissioners is great, but when not one single commissioner stands up for the taxpayer or county employees, something is horribly wrong. Perhaps it is time to get back to the people's business instead of personal business, economic development, education, funding, and infrastructure. That would be a great place to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kellogg. Ms. Cindy Buckley.
My name is Cindy Buckley, and I reside at 113 Winchester Road in Gastonia. Good morning, County Commissioners. I'll try to make this brief. There are three things that I'm going to touch on. Mostly it's hopefully getting some answers to questions I have, which sounds like would have to come through the county manager's office. My big question is why. I would like to know from each one of you why you voted on the insurance benefits last week. And now I would like to know, the second thing I would like to know is why you voted to rescind the resolution today. If you can vote on a resolution where you're going to be spending the county's money, then it sounds to me like the county might be in pretty good financial shape. However, I will have to admit that I have not educated myself on the county budget. But this actually brings me to my third point, which is I think that we need to know what the financial situation of the county is, and not just the financial situation, but the county as a whole. And this last point I would like to address to you, Commissioner Philbeck. On April 16th, you were speaking at an event that was being held at Our Savior Lutheran Church in Dallas. And I found out about this event because I saw it in the newspaper. It was advertised. In the newspaper, it stated that you were going to be giving a talk or a speech, and it was called The State of the County. Now, that sounds like that's a very important speech that a lot of people in the county would like to hear. However, I don't think it was advertised that well, and I think a lot of people would like to hear what you had to say at that meeting. And so I will leave with a question here that I'm just wondering if that can be if that can be presented at a bigger venue so that more people can attend and we can hear what you have to say, or if something is already scheduled, I would certainly like to know about that. And I just want all of you to know that I will be available after this meeting is adjourned if you would like to answer any of my questions directly to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. I'll quickly answer 3 of those. I voted for it because, in my thought, I did not think it was going to cost the taxpayers a dime. I rescinded it because the people have spoke out, and no matter what we say, they do not like it, and this is democracy. So as much as this seems bad, this is actually good. We're listening. We're rescinding it. And on April the 16th, I was invited by a nonprofit organization, Wake Up Church USA. They asked me to come to their event and speak, so it was not something that I was promoting. So I just wanted to answer those 3, and thank you for coming forward. Ms. Sherry Alexander.
I'm Sherry Alexander. I live at 209 6th Street in Belmont. I'm a senior citizen, and I pay for Medicare, and I need a supplemental policy to cover my medical bills, and that doesn't even cover it. And I'm sure that all of you, if none of you have insurance or your companies do not offer insurance, I would think that you would be searching for your insurance outside the county, just as other people are required to do by Obamacare. You say you question, you didn't know that it would cost the taxpayers any money. The taxpayers do pay for that insurance. A larger bunch of people get better insurance rates, and the county insurance is a lot better than you would pay outside of the employees of Gaston County. Another thing is, if you are bringing up these things, it will come into question your future, all future matters that come up before the commission. It's brought a light on to a lot of people on, let's watch our commissioners, we don't trust people anymore. As far as the adoption, I do commend you for adopting children. I would love to adopt some of these 18-year-olds that are pushed out of the system. When they become 18, they have nowhere to go, nobody to help them go to college or anything. I would love to take 1, 2, 3. I live in a little 3-bedroom house that was built in 1906, but I think I have room in my house and my heart for any of them if I could afford it. I can't. And I don't think anybody's going to offer, even if it would be offered, I don't think that $8,000 would cover a child. And I commend you for keeping those children. I really do. That is something that I hold dear in my heart. But really, for future matters, I think you should look back on this and say, is this really something that is going to cost the taxpayers for my benefit? And like people say, we did not realize that you were employees and should be even offered any benefits at your own expense or anybody's. I have my lottery ticket already. I bought today. And if I win this lottery, you better believe a lot of this is going to a lot of children. We're going to have a halfway house for 18-year-olds right in the middle of Belmont. And I do, you're all, I just really admire people that are in public office. I wish I were. I do, because I think I would listen to what people say. And if somebody tells me something that they believe, if 10 people tell me something that they believe is right or wrong, and 2 people tell me that they think that's okay, I would go with the 10 people that are saying that. So in the future, I hope you look back on this and say, is this for my benefit, or is this for the public that I'm supposed to be serving? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. Dr. James Chandler.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Mr. Mathers and Mr. Moore. My name is James Chandler. I live at 1951 Roden Court here in Gastonia. I want you to know that I guess I could classify myself as a Libertarian Republican Tea Party conservative. Okay, so I kind of represent everybody else in the room here to a certain extent. I'm also a retired United States Air Force enlisted man, so I know about service, I know about benefits, and the importance of having benefits. So, and I appreciate your service. And I think what you're hearing from the audience today is basically in the reports and everything is we've heard the justifications that, well, you know, it's right for us to do this, or it's right for us to have this responsibility or to have this benefit. Well, there's a difference between being right legally and being right ethically and morally. And I think that you ought to reflect on that. And I appreciate that you rescinded a resolution that never should have been brought forth in the first place. And with that, I'm going to yield my time to Jennifer Stepp, and y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandler. Ms. Jennifer Stepp.
My name is Jennifer Stepp. I live at 901 Athenian Drive in Gastonia, North Carolina. I want to thank you, first of all, for allowing us to speak today, and thank you for your time and service to the people of our county. I am speaking today as a representative of the Tea Party of Greater Gaston County. And as the organization's chair, I have been proud to have many of you attend our meetings, both as participants and as guest speakers. I have been able to repeatedly express my appreciation of having true conservative representation on our county commission. We've helped many of you during election season, and we've worked hand in hand on many issues. I would say that many on this commission hold similar views with the Tea Party of Greater Gaston County on many pertinent issues. We have supported many of the decisions you have made and are appreciative of your conservative stance in the past. And the lines of communication have been open and favorable between the board and our organization. However, the lines of communication seemed to shut down when it came to last Tuesday night's vote on health insurance benefits. We looked at the agenda sent to the Sunshine List to make sure there were no issues we felt needed to be addressed on the vote Tuesday night at the meeting on Tuesday night, and that resolution was not on that agenda. In fact, it seemed it was quietly added at the last moment and to the consent agenda at that. This type of behavior was unbecoming and unacceptable by those elected by the people to represent the people. It was suspicious and cast a shadow of doubt on your intent. When we learned about the vote, we were stunned. How could a conservative commission sponsor and vote for such a fiscally irresponsible resolution? There have been emails, texts, phone calls, Facebook posts galore debating the whys and why nots of the debacle. We've heard excuses and justifications, but simply put, there is just no justification for this action. Our county is struggling to pay insurance to full-time employees and does not, nor should not, offer it to part-time employees. Most full-time employees are not allowed to retain their insurance benefits after retirement. Now spouses eligible for insurance benefits at their place of employment can no longer be covered on the county's policy. So to vote yourself this benefit is a double standard and a slap in the face to all county employees, especially part-time employees, and taxpayers as a whole. With concerns over health insurance costs, why would you substantially increase those costs by adding insurance for yourselves and all future commissioners? Costs are estimated to be over $600 a month per commissioner. A commissioner receiving this benefit for 25 years could cost a taxpayer almost $500,000. Not very fiscally conservative. We've heard the argument that other counties do this, and in fact, 9 in our state do. Are these conservative counties? Are you looking to other counties to justify actions? You're to look to those who voted for you and those that you represent. You should do what is best for the people of this county. It is really irrelevant what these other counties do, as it is not their hard-earned money you're spending. If someone else enacts bad policies, we should learn from their mistakes, not follow in their footsteps. We've heard the argument that your compensation isn't enough for the time you spend serving the people of this county, and that this benefit would help make up the difference. Please remember, this is not to be your primary occupation or source of income. This is a position of service, and what you get in compensation comes from the pockets of and the plates of those you choose to serve. The last thing we need is more incentive for career politicians. There are many who serve in our community without any compensation at all. We put our trust in you as our leaders and our representatives, and we expect you to serve with no intention of receiving special benefits. If indeed you feel you deserve more compensation, then at least be transparent and above board and look to vote yourself a salary increase. At least this would only last for your time of service, would not be a tax-free benefit, and would not increase every year due to inflation. Yes, it costs money to run for office, but the argument that this benefit will attract the common man, those who are not as financially well off, is horrible logic. First of all, that will not help with upfront costs necessary to run a campaign. And secondly, do we really want people running for office simply for the benefits? If it was bad advice, learn from your mistakes and seek wise counsel in the future. If you weren't sure of the numbers, do your homework. But thankfully, after the public spoke, you listened and you changed your mind. And you have rescinded that resolution today. The Party of Greater Gaston County came today to ask for complete rescinding of the resolution, and we appreciate your due diligence in doing so. At best, this appeared to be a hypocritical and disingenuous move according to the values you have espoused and the stances you have taken previously. Again, if you need health insurance, get it through your regular employees or through the exchange, like the other citizens of our county. There's been a history of career politicians benefiting from long-term perks at the cost of the federal and state level constituency. We beg you not to allow this to occur at the county level as well. Return quickly to the conservative principles that you ran on. This will go a long way in restoring trust and honor. Thank you for doing the right thing and making the conservative choice and rescinding this resolution in its entirety. Now get back on track to smaller government, fewer entitlements, and less taxes. And we implore you to be the conservatives you were elected to be. Now let us unite and move forward. And I would like to let everyone in the audience know that we have invited some of the commissioners to speak at our meeting on May 21st at Hillbilly's Barbecue in Lowell and give a state of the county and answer some questions. And we would invite you all to come. There would be an avenue, a venue for you to hear. And we will try to make sure that's announced and advertised. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stepp. This concludes our special meeting. Our next work session is May the 12th. Our next regular meeting is May the 26th at 6 p.m. at the Harley B. Gaston Jr. Public Forum Courthouse. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, please telephone our clerk, Donna Buff, at 704-866-3196 and share them. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Carpenter, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? This meeting is adjourned.